Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
We're just a fantastic couple in love that loves reacting to some Fallout.
It's time for Fallout.
It's time for Fallout, people. And so we're doing the Storyteller Fallout series. This is season 3. We're doing episodes 11 and 12. So the Angels, Boneyard, and the Master, which I guess is the ending for Fallout 1 that they're going to go over.
What a great name, the Angels, Boneyard.
Yeah, I thought that was a great name too.
I mean, wow.
Great title, yeah.
Yeah.
And because it's Fallout.
He remembered.
I did.
We have a drink.
Yeah.
So this is the stim pack spritzer, which gets that name because it has a stim pack.
Mm-hmm.
So you add the stim pack, give it a little bit of a stir, just because, you know, you should. And then you cheers.
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 And when she turned her back, she heard a single word carry across the winds. Gary.
Gary. Oh, Edna.
No way that really happened.
Didn't know folks had cloning machines like that.
We don't. Cloning machines can only do organs and tissue, not whole people. It's just a scary story.
Nope.
All right. Well, let me tell you one that people used to frighten their kids back around the time the Vault Dweller came to the Boneyard. I call this story Mother of the Death Claws.
Mother of the Death Claws?
I've killed 30 of those.
And I've killed a death claw with a single shot, but that's a story for another day. Suffice it to say, back in the 2160s, most people thought death claws were just a myth. The Vault Dweller was one of the few people north of the Angel's Boneyard that ever saw one and survived. People in California said the death claw was the most evil thing to rise out of the ashes following the war.
Looks pretty terrifying.
A ghost from the back when times that haunted the wasteland. The size of 3 men. Teeth as long as your arm. Claws as sharp as a ripper.
You imagine something like that finding its way into your house at night?
In the fires of the apocalypse.
Shoot them in legs with a dart gun, then pick away at them till they go down. Laser rifle works best.
That might work on one death claw, but there were neighborhoods in the Boneyard where packs of them roamed the streets by night. The Deathclaw mother spawned new horrors faster than anyone could kill them, even the gunrunners. Back then, the gunrunners were just a small group of machinists set up in an old factory, surrounded by a moat of radioactive goo, not the interstate arms merchants they are today. The Vault Dweller and their remaining companions passed through the Boneyard on their way to confront the master of the super mutant army. They were the most capable fighting force in the land, but even they would need help to stop the horror that hid beneath the cathedral. And help doesn't come free.
I think you're straying off topic, Storyteller. How about that Mama Deathclaw?
I'm getting to that. You see, the gunrunners traded with other factions in the area, but they couldn't do real business. Not with the regulators squeezing them dry, the Deathclaws stopping them from relocating. No matter how many they killed, they kept coming. And only the Vault Dweller was brave enough to enter her lair.
I heard them Deathclaws weren't the nastiest thing in the Boneyard. Not by a long shot. Folk in California used to tell tales of a bounty hunter so mean he terrified outlaws all the way up to New Reno. A man they called Chris. He traveled with a posse of goons that make a fire gecko's blood run cold. They was called Cain, the First Murderer.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Say goodnight, Gracie. Oh!
The Exile.
Maybe those scars will make good party talk.
Sweet. Oh,
and he's
nice.
Not wearing a cup either.
Oh.
They roamed the territory around the Angel's Boneyard, showing no mercy to the wicked.
Get your mitts off that kid. I'm Christopher, and you're meat.
And your meat, is that what he said?
Some of the old-timers in my hometown say that he even beat the tar out of the Vault Dweller once.
We don't appreciate wise guys here. Buzz off.
Can't guess what the Vault Dweller did to get his dander up. That Meet the Heroes went south faster than a flock of geese in November.
You're about to discover why I'm one of the most fearsome bounty hunters in the wasteland.
I'm gonna make you look like a cracked pretzel.
Time to increase the old body count.
Take on the whole gang.
It's survival of the fittest, and you're out of shape.
My groin's going to fire.
Didn't need that knee anyway.
That didn't happen. Whoever told you that must have been out of their head on Jet. The Vault Dweller brought peace to the Boneyard. Didn't run around picking fights. They helped defuse a war that was being brewed between a local gang and a bunch of crooked lawmen called the Regulators. But the most important thing that happened in the Boneyard was when the Vault Dweller gained the trust of the followers of the Apocalypse.
The followers, the children, the Hubologists. I get all them doomsday cults confused.
The followers aren't a cult. They're, what's that word?
I guess you could call them a charity, not a religion or cult. Just people selflessly dedicated to preserving the ways of the back when times.
Unlike the Brotherhood, the followers use their knowledge to help people, freely. They were founded by Nicole, who came to the Boneyard from Dayglow, built a headquarters in a pre-war library, and gathered like-minded followers. Pretty effective organization for a bunch of anarchists. They got a spy inside the cathedral. They knew that the children of the cathedral were connected to the super mutants. Told the Dweller everything they knew, and even sent a few followers along to help stop the super mutant master.
I've been hearing the mutants talk about that master all my life. Ain't one of them ever given me a straight answer about what the master really was.
Some kind of giant mutant too big to even leave his base?
The Vault Dweller didn't say just what the master was in their memoirs, but there were some clues in that story. I also met a few of the first-generation super mutants who were there when it all happened. And there's someone still alive that I think knew the master before it went by that name. But that...
If you say, that's a story for another day, I'll shoot you in the face.
Careful there, Storyteller. I think she means it.
Say it.
Besides, I've never been a big fan of cliffhangers myself.
All right. Well, when the Vault Dweller arrived at the cathedral...
Oh, Emma.
Someone's coming.
Oh, nice.
So that's our cliffhanger.
Yeah. Good. That was great ending. I don't like cliffhangers, and you know the cliffhanger's coming. And yeah, so he did still get to say it. That's a story for another day, but he said it earlier in the episode. So they're still finding creative ways for him to say the catchphrase.
I love a good scary story. And the whole claw demon thing,
Death
claws were terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was just kind of thinking, you hear stories on the news all the time about like a bear that wanders into someone's yard or even into their house or something. So even though they kind of depicted them as these wild animals out in the boneyard, I was thinking about like, God, if that wandered into your house in the middle of the night, it's terrifying in the daylight. I can't imagine what it would be like in the dark. So very much enjoyed that. The story of the Vault Dweller and his little posse of people who kind of went around taking care of the no good evil deed doers was quite fun until they all kind of turned on each other, which was sad. But yeah, I thought this was very enjoyable.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I like the fact that like they had that, but then like she was like, that's not how it really happened. And so like you had said previously, it's fun. They're kind of doing like, I don't know, like almost like some what if stories within this where they're going over some of the lore, but they're like changing some of the details because like that's what would have happened. You know, that's what happens. People change details all the time. Like, you know, they say that this is what really happened. This is what they think happened, but like they don't actually know all the facts of the story. And then like the legend of it kind of buries the facts sometimes. And so it's interesting seeing like having them do that and have like other people's stories about what they think happened, and then like, you know, had to have the storyteller or Helen correct them on what the actual facts were.
I mean, the very nature of being a storyteller means that you are prone to embellishment. You're an entertainer, so you're looking for the good bits and emphasizing them perhaps beyond the reality. So I enjoy that. I also am really curious because kind of like how you said, doing that, taking liberties and moving away from the actual lore. I wonder how much of this is actually doing that and how much of this lore maybe at this point is up for discussion amongst the Fallout community. I only think of that because of Five Nights at Freddy's. There's so much lore that is, well, we think the clues are pointing us this way, but they could be pointing us that way. Not really sure. We decided to take this direction. So I wonder in the world of Fallout if that's also the case, that some of this lore is based on some small amount of clues that have been pieced together in a way that could be interpreted in a variety of fashion, or if the Fallout lore is more concrete and our storyteller is just having fun with it.
I think the Fallout lore is more, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think it's more concrete because I think what they're going over here is like actual missions that happen like within the game.
Okay.
That people have played. So they're not like necessarily like pulling from like, you know, books or like clues or whatever. They're like actually like pulling from like stuff that had happened within Fallout, and they're kind of like just like telling that story of Fallout. It's kind of like, you know, it's like if we were watching the cutscenes, but just told in like a different, like unique way.
Okay, so that was gonna be my next question to you, was if it's like cutscenes or if it's like the playthrough, because you as the player in some games can determine the outcome. You can change how that actually goes.
True.
Whereas like cutscenes tend to be more standardized segments that move the story along and therefore are somewhat concrete.
Well, I think you can change like some things. I mean, like, you know, like it depends on the game. But a lot of times, you know, it's like you're like pushed in like a certain direction, which I think maybe that is what some of these different tales are, as far as like, this is one way you could play it, which is that's like what that one guy was saying. And then, but that's not like the canon actual lore of it. So like, you know, there's the different endings, and then there's like the canon ending. Like there's a different ending for Mortal Kombat 11 when we played, but now we know like the canon ending is the one where Liu Kang wins. It's not the one where Shang Tsung wins. So
yeah,
that might be, you might be right about that. It might be like different ways to play it. So that's why we're getting different things told to us.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, agreed. On to
the Master.
Episode 12.
Someone's heading toward us.
Ain't hard to miss the campfire. Or the car.
No sense hiding then. Howdy, stranger.
I thought he was going to take off his helmet for a second.
So did I.
I don't mean no harm. I'm a merchant.
Where's your Brahmin cart?
Brahmin?
But are you
the
must
merchant?
Be
from out west. We don't use Brahmin carts where I'm from. Traders out of Dogtown haul our wares in dog carts. Faster than them cows of yours, and good in a fight, too.
Then where's your dog cart?
Some bastard Luddite stole it yesterday. They don't cause trouble if you keep your pre-war tech out of sight. But this one just knocked me right off the cart. It was on the move before I even shot up.
Which way they heading?
Back the way I came, east toward Dogtown.
Dogtown?
What they call Denver. Was Legion territory last time I passed through. Legion gets their mongrels there. All we got in Dogtown is dogs anymore. Some of them can be tamed like my pack dogs. Most is just feral mutants. And them pre-war cyber dogs are running the show in most neighborhoods. When I was there, the locals said the dog packs killed all the Brahmin long ago. Ate the cats, the rats, and the slower children. Dogtown certainly earns its name.
Children.
What's the matter with old Edna?
Edna recently discovered she isn't a fan of dogs. Streets ain't fit for humans most nights. Happy to let the Legion take the wild ones. I shoot as many as I see, and I make a good living trading dog hide and jerky to the Luddites out in these parts.
Dog jerky?
I tell the Luddites it's coyote meat. Tastes the same to me.
I ain't sharing my campfire with some dog eater.
There you go.
If we don't eat them, they'll eat us.
Get along, or your dinner for the first critter that scents your corpse.
You mean to shoot me for eating a dog?
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
Kind of like you, Helen.
I'm moving.
Way to go, Helen.
The Luddite that stole his cart. That's our android. Might still be on the road.
Android? What android?
No time to explain.
Ma'am, I appreciate you got me out of that ruckus with the Luddites yesterday. But I ain't driving into Pooch City after some mystery robot just because a pair of stragglers are in a hurry.
All right. Thanks for driving us this far. So you were about to tell me about the time the Vault Dweller fought the Super Mutant Master?
That's right. I'll tell you while we walk.
You don't get to hear the story now.
Wait. This better be one hell of a story.
A monument of ancient black stone rose from the graveyard of 4 million dead angels. A cathedral to a dark god. A new god for a ruined world. A holy flame that would purify humanity and restore the earth.
Give me a break.
A single hero stood against a beast of unfathomable horror. Their companions had fallen in battle against the minions of this eldritch abomination. One by one, they sacrificed themselves so that humanity might endure. The Vault Dweller had fought through the wretched, deformed, demented servants of the Mutant Master and emerged into the deepest chamber beneath the dread cathedral, alone. The Vault Dweller had a mission. They had a goal. They had a really big gun.
Yeah.
The Master had once been human, a man of science, a leader who sought to bring unity to the world. But he had become something both more and less than human. Gifted and cursed with untold mutations, its body flowed through the halls of its subterranean lair. It had a mind that could influence its mutant army from miles away.
Damn.
What such telepathic power do to a human standing mere feet away is incomprehensible. The Vault Dweller endured a psychic assault that would have crushed a lesser person. Yet our hero staggered on until confronted by the abysmal creature face to face.
You think you can destroy me?
Destroy
me?
What happened next?
No one knows. The Vault Dweller didn't explain how they defeated the Master. Maybe brute force. Maybe they snuck in and set off some sort of self-destruct system. The Master never even knew they were there. Maybe the Vault Dweller was clever enough to spot a critical flaw in the Master's plan and convince the miserable creature to kill itself.
Doesn't matter how.
These are the different endings
The
that
Vault
you
Dweller
can have.
saved our little corner of the wasteland. And the ingrates back at Vault 13 didn't even let him back inside.
What?
That bastard overseer felt that the Vault Dweller had spent too much time in the wild. Would be a bad influence on all the little dwellers in the Down Under. Sent them back out into the wasteland, permanently.
Wow.
Huh. Reminds me of some old song I heard. Maybe the one who was waiting for you will prove untrue. Hope that overseer got his comeuppance eventually.
Me too.
Yup. Some of the stories I've heard say he didn't have to wait too long either.
Ha!
Oh!
But those were just rumors. Most of the stories say that the Vault Dweller left in peace. And eventually others from the Vault followed.
Yeah, I would have shot him,
Founded
for
a
sure.
village up in the north. Actually met a
That
direct
would've been my
descendant
ending.
of the Vault Dweller myself about 40 years ago. A chosen one on a quest to save their village.
Well, ain't that something? Because I've met some tribal savage wearing a Vault 13 jumpsuit about the same time. Called themselves the Chosen One, too.
The hero that saved the wasteland from the Enclave.
Hero? That Chosen One was the meanest son of a bitch to ever walk the wasteland.
Why do you say that?
Because the Chosen One killed my pa!
Okay. Twist. Another good cliffhanger.
Okay.
Yeah. I like it again. Like, I mean, that kind of, I think, confirms, or at least definitely hints more at what we had talked about in the after the last one, that there's like the different ways you can play, and then I guess the different ways you can beat that last enemy, and how you can either shoot the guy or like walk away. And I guess like the canon, it's like most people, walk away, but I would have shot him. I for sure would have shot him. I was thinking that too. I'm like, guy does that to me, I'm gonna shoot him. In this world, yeah. I mean, not like in this current world, I wouldn't do that. But like if I was in that Fallout universe, hell yeah, I would.
I mean, I applaud everyone who would walk away peacefully. I'm curious how many other options there are, because I know they listed 3, but I wonder, are 3 the only options available to you, or are there others? Because I'm like, I'm not saying I would have shot him. I'm also not saying I wouldn't have. But if I've gone out and been to hell and back to do this thing for you, and then you keep me out of the vault.
Because you say I took too long.
We're not just going to have a peaceful, like, okay, yeah, you're right, and I walk away conversation.
Yeah.
It's not the way it's going to go.
He's at least getting punched. At least. At the very least, he's getting punched.
Oh, he's getting kicked in the balls a few times. I'm going to make sure he doesn't procreate.
Yeah, exactly. I would shot his legs off in his arm. Yeah, that was good. I like that ending.
See, like, I don't know. For some reason, I want to say, like, that's more considerate. You would just shoot his limbs off. I'm going to make sure he can't procreate. I'm going to nut punch him and kick him hard many times.
Yeah, it's kind of almost worse.
They're going to explode, is what I'm saying.
They're going to explode.
Squish.
Like a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Yes, exactly like a Mortal Kombat fatality.
Let us know what you thought about this down below in the comments. And if you want early ad-free access to our Fallout reactions, check out the description of this video because we got a link to our Patreon there. You can get early access to a bunch of our videos as well on this channel and on our other Definitely Not Definitive channel. We got 2 reaction channels.
Yeah.
Just check both of them out if you want to see some movie and TV reactions from us.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for checking out our reaction for the Fallout Storyteller Season 3, Episode 11 and 12, which keep in mind
that our reaction is definitely not definitive.